come through, but first of all, I want to welcome each of you to our annual meeting. This is our 51st annual meeting, and for those, if there's anyone on the I guess the meeting that I haven't met, I'm Leonardo McClarty, and I'm the president of the Howard County Chamber, and again, welcome this morning. The annual meeting is a time where we reflect upon the previous year's accomplishments, recognize key stakeholders, install new board members, and share our plans for the year ahead. This year started off with a bang. We were on the heels of celebrating 50 years of service to the Howard County community and starting a new decade. Unfortunately, things took a strange turn in March, and we thought we would be planning our 6th annual Women's Leadership Conference, gearing up for our 2nd annual Multicultural Mixer, launching a GovCon networking program, and setting the stage for our YPN conference. Instead, we were hanging out at home and teaching our kids. Our Women's Conference Committee has had to go back to the drawing board multiple times to figure out how to hold the conference virtually, and that was just the beginning. Like many of the businesses here today, the Chamber had to pivot and reassess many of our programs. We have also had to come up with creative and innovative ways to service the business community during these unusual times. Fortunately, due to companies you see behind me and those that rotated through earlier, we have been able to make it through. I also want to thank those of you that were able to renew your membership during these past few months and those that actually joined the Chamber as well. So holding our annual meeting virtually shows how differently we conduct business these days, and I'm certain this is the first time the Chamber's annual meeting has been held this way. COVID-19 nor a modified meeting format will stop the Chamber. And with the remnants of the George Floyd incident reminding us of the fragility of life and how far we have to go as a nation in regard to equal opportunity, justice reform, and other human rights, there is much work for us to do. And so let us get started. And to commemorate this occasion, everyone, if you would please, take your phones out, or actually there's even a button, I think, for the iPad. If we could get a nice screenshot this morning that we can socially share using the hashtag ChamberAM20. And so let's get a good screenshot of everyone that's gathered here. And I know we probably can't quite have maybe everyone on each other's screen, but certainly I think we've got nearly 70 participants gathered this morning for the Chamber's annual meeting. So let's get a nice shot here. And I think now that we've got some nice smiling faces and pictures that we can see on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, we'll continue with the remaining part of our program in the more formal part. So I'm going to now ask each of you, if you would, disable your video and as well as to mute your lines. And this will help us to minimize distractions as we continue moving forward. So this year is of importance as we have a transition in board leaders. It is also important because it marks the beginning of a new 3-year strategic plan. This 3-year strategic plan will ultimately mark the direction that we had over the next few years. And the board met back in both November as well as January to discuss where we're heading as an organization. And through those meetings, we determined that there were 4 strategic areas we wanted to focus heavily in. The first one being engagement. And really that speaks to membership. It speaks to how we work in our various committees. It speaks to the programs that we offer. It speaks to making sure that you understand and truly appreciate and recognize this organization is yours. The second is marketing and communications. And this speaks to continuing to always make sure that our value proposition is understood and that it's known throughout the community, especially for those that may not have had experience with the Chamber before. The third is organization excellence. And this is more of an inward focus. And this is where we want to make sure that we continue to operate in the most efficient manner, that we have the necessary resources to move the organization forward, and that the board of directors also reflects the Howard County community in terms of business size, business demographic, business location, types of industry as well. And then the last is public affairs. This is certainly an area that the Chamber has always traditionally focused on from an advocacy perspective, but it also speaks to the fact that we want to be community partners as well with other organizations that strive to make Howard County a place where many would want to move their business here, raise their families, and grow. And so these are our strategic plan pillars for the next 3 years. And so, excuse me. So before we hear remarks from our outgoing chairman and welcome my incoming chairman, I want to personally thank David Anderson for his leadership this year. David has always been someone that I've been able to learn a great deal from, particularly his insights and perspective and his business acumen. And so, David, I thank you for your support of the Chamber. I thank you for your support of me, and really look forward to continuing to work with you and being able to tap your brain when there's times of advice needed as well. And so again, David, thank you for your support. And I also want to acknowledge the men and women that have served before David as well, as certainly they have laid the foundation for this organization and laid the foundation for David and subsequently for Chuck, who will come behind him. And so again, thank you all for your past service. We also have many volunteers serving on various committees who have helped this past year be a success, and we could not achieve all that we do without you. These committees are our ambassadors, our YPN, our Gov Connects, our legislative affairs, leadership and governance, marketing, signature event, our women's leadership conference, our cyber conference, membership, and holiday party. So please join me in clicking on the reaction button that's down in your right-hand corner and giving these folks a nice round of applause virtually. Again, many thanks to all of you. So normally our annual meeting would be when also we would celebrate and recognize people who have helped us accomplish our mission of serving the Howard County business community. And as I stated before, we lean on a host of members as part of our efforts to accomplish our goals, and they're with us every step of the way. We still have high hopes that we will be able to have an outdoor ceremony later in the year. And so rather than recognizing our awards for Chamber of Excellence, or ACE, as we call them, we would like to properly recognize them and award them later. And so with that being said, it is now my pleasure to turn the screen over to our current board chair, David Anderson.
Thank you, Leonardo. I really do appreciate it. And I must say first that I love Pam Long. I think she does an absolutely awesome job consistently in making us look good. But that was one of the worst pictures of me that, well, I guess I say that about all of them. My wife just tells me that I need practice and I'm not that photogenic. So it's really nice just to see people this morning, I must say, and particularly nice to see each of you. I miss hanging out with you, and Zoom's a good substitute, but I look forward to getting back to the day when we can get together in person and do it in good health and responsibly and that type of thing. So first, thank you, Leonardo. I really do appreciate you, as well as all that you do for our community and our chamber and the constituency family within each of those. I suspect many of you would agree that it would be a tremendous understatement for me to merely express that these times are unprecedented. Nonetheless, and although there are most certainly areas which warrant our critical concern right now, I continue to subscribe strongly to a worldview in that in crisis, there is opportunity. And so even during these times when we're grappling with tremendous issues, which include a global health pandemic and disjointed relationships and dynamics globally, as well as economic and necessary social, racial upheaval here in the US and in our local communities, I genuinely remain very optimistic about what I refer to as our next normal. which, whether we realize it or not, we're in the midst of creating together right now and every day going forward. And so as I reflect on some of the positive advancements which have been made on so many fronts within our lives over the years, whether it's health or economy or technology or socially, I found it important to keep in perspective that a vast number of them were catalyzed by tremendous adversity and pain in many ways, people not seeing eye to eye initially, and disruptive forces that were hard to initially imagine as having the potential to be constructively positive in their effect over time. Well, I believe that now represents a perhaps one in a lifetime opportunity during our time on this earth to turn the pain into gain. And so I encourage you to play a meaningful role along with me in shaping our next normal. And we'll continue to help the Chamber make further advancements toward the goals embedded in our strategic plan that Leonardo just touched upon and the related activities here within our Howard County community. So before I pivot over to the official Chamber business portion of my time at the Zoom podium that we have today, I'll offer the sentiments of my esteemed fellow Morehouse College alumnus, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who stated, "The time is always right to do what's right." The time is always right to do what's right. And so with that as a centering point of view, I look forward to shaping a healthy and inclusive best version of our next normal along with you. It has been my genuine pleasure to serve as your chair over the past 2 years. I thank you sincerely and hope I was able to be a meaningfully helpful and positive influence. At this time, I'd like to take a moment to also thank the wonderful people who represent this organization so well. Our Chamber staff, committees, board of directors, community participants who've been involved, politicians, etc. It's hard. To say this is a hardworking board is really understated, particularly over the past few months as the Chamber has been forced to really change our game and figure out how we remain relevant. And so kudos to Leonardo and his leadership, the board for their support and assistance, the various committee members, etc., and to the membership for helping us and partnering with us through this time of change. Thank you for serving to the board members and for all that you do for the Chamber. And now I'd like to recognize the board members whose terms are expiring and will be leaving the board this year. I owe them a tremendous debt, and thank you for all that you've done for the business community within Howard County. Alyssa Tosh from the Maryland Association of Justice, also a YPN chair. Thank you. Mary Cannon and Associates, who's acted as our Finance Committee chair and treasurer, and a bunch of other roles for us, quite candidly. Mary, thank you. We genuinely appreciate it. Jeff Agnor, what can I say, my friend? We've kind of traveled this road together as fellow board members, executive committee members. You taught me everything that I know. And maybe I'd say you taught me how to fix some of the things I screwed up as a board chair over the years. You've been a great friend. I really appreciate it. You've been a great mentor, fellow board member, etc. Thank you. We really do appreciate all of your efforts and contributions. So to all of our retiring board members, we thank you. And it's now officially the time for me to pass the gavel over to Chuck Phillips, who is our chair-elect. I wish, Chuck, that I could pass you one of these.
Me too.
But in these tumultuous times, there's crisis and there's opportunity. So I get to pass you this. And I know that you will use it really, really well in order to help us get to the next level and help contribute to achievement of the various things that we've laid out in the previous strategic plan and in the most recently refreshed strategic plan. We are really, really lucky to have you step into the role of our chair, and I look forward to supporting you and working along with you with the board, executive committee, etc. So Chuck will be introducing our slate of nominees for the board of directors for the seats for 2020s. For those of you who might not know Chuck or might not know much about the fact that he, plays so many roles within our communities, within his organization. He is officially the Senior Vice President of Site Facilities and the market leader for KCI Technologies. Chuck has more than 40 years professional experience in consulting engineering. In the consulting engineering business, he currently serves as the market manager for KCI's Site and Facilities division, which employs more than 200 people in 15 offices across 10 states. The Site and Facilities discipline serves both public and private sector clients on a variety of project types, including municipal and institutional facilities, military and federal installations, airports and related structures, commercial buildings, residential land development, and land and hydrographic surveying. So suffice it to say, he's not a lightweight, guys. He's not a lightweight. So, and neither am I, but that's in other ways. And we can talk about that later. And I've been working on that during quarantine. So Chuck also sits on a host of boards throughout the state and is highly sought after as a speaker throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. He's been married to his wife, Kim, for 37 years. He's my neighbor out here in rural Western Howard County. And they've lived there for about 30 years, where they raised two children, Ashley and Casey. They're also the proud grandparents of twin daughters, Tessa, Kenley, and a grandson, Claude. Like Flora, I'm amazed when I hear that Chuck has grandchildren. It makes me nervous, but it also inspires me with people like Chuck and Flora who bring so much energy to what they do every day that, rather than thinking of it as a 60th, maybe it's just the 30th anniversary of your 30th is kind of the spirit that you bring to that, Flora. So we all do appreciate it. They have another, Chuck and Kim have another granddaughter, Charlie, on the way as well. So when not working or playing with his grandkids, Chuck stays active playing music in a local band, Fat Daddies and the Tenderloins. That's the first time I've ever used any of those expressions in a formal presentation, but there you go. I'd encourage you to check them out. And Chuck also enjoys collecting cars as a hobby. So with that said, I just, again, really have appreciated it and enjoyed the opportunity to serve as your chair. I look forward to continuing to stay involved. And thank you to all of you who have supported, helped, guided, and counseled me throughout my time here. So with that, I will turn it over to Chuck Phillips. Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you, David. Before I introduce the new slate, I'd like to take a moment and recognize David for his leadership over the past 2 years. David, you've done a wonderful job for the Chamber and our membership. And as Leonardo mentioned earlier, we're hoping to have an outdoor event where we'd like to thank you and recognize you more formally. So we hope everybody will join us at that, where we're able to just congratulate and thank David in person for everything that he's done, on behalf of the Chamber during his tenure as chair over the last couple of years, and certainly before that, and what he's going to continue to do as he stays on. Let me add to that it's been really my pleasure to serve on the executive committee as part of the leadership team with David. He's displayed a steady and consistent leadership style that I hope to emulate in my time as chair over the next couple of years. And let me also say that I'm grateful that he will be hanging around for the next couple years as immediate past chair, and I'll get to continue to work with him on the committee and to lean on him, you know, for that wealth of knowledge that he has and experience that he has. So David, again, thank you for all your efforts on behalf of this chamber.
My pleasure, Chuck. No kidding.
And can I give them a little, there we go. All right, so it's now my honor to introduce the slate of nominees for the 2020 Board of Directors. And there they are ahead of us here. Lisa Anderson with Anonvo Transformation Solutions, LLC. We have Matt Anderson with McFarland Insurance Agency. Nick Barrick with KCI Technologies, and he's coming in as the YPN chair. Cheryl Brown with Davis Agnor Rappaport and Scowney. Kelly Hall with Giant Food, and Julie Hopkins with Fulton Bank. So provided that there is no unreadiness, I will call for a vote. We will do this using the polling function on your screen. So everybody see if we can find a polling function. There we, annual meeting, there you go. All in favor, click yes. Opposed, click no. So we're voting on this slate. So I'm thinking in Cyberland, this is all being tallied up somewhere. And we're going to get the official notice from Leonardo on the vote. All right.
We
so
will, and actually, I think what we'll have to do is actually we may have to take the share screen off for the, I think for the actual polling piece to work unless everyone was able to see it.
It came up and I've got the...
Okay, so then in that case, everything has been confirmed.
Yeah.
Everything has been confirmed.
Awesome. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to the, with that, congratulations first to all the new board members. Welcome. I look forward to working with each and every one of you, and you know, I'm really grateful for the contributions you've already made to the chamber, and look forward to the contributions that you'll make as board members as we move forward. With that, it's also my pleasure to introduce you to the officer slate for 2020. They are myself as chairman of the board, David Anderson with Anderson True North LLC and expense reduction analyst as immediate past chair. Linda Ostovitz with Offutt Kerman, our chair-elect. And guess who's coming back? Mary Cannon with Mary Cannon and Associates as a special appointment. Thank you, Mary, coming back as our treasurer. And Kelly Mitchell. That is the slate for the incoming officers. Kelly Mitchell is the secretary. And there's no need to a vote here. However, let me just tell you, I'm extremely excited to serve with these people. I know them all, have seen them firsthand up close and personal, and what they give to this organization is extraordinary. So thank you all. I'm really happy to be serving with this talented group of professionals. So with that, I wanted to just take a minute to talk about kind of the upcoming years. It's really been a tumultuous time, as David referenced and Leonardo both referenced, with the COVID-19 virus and all the unrest. And I just, again, want to say what a great job folks at the chamber have done to kind of keep things moving forward and really keep us on track. As we look ahead to the years ahead for the chamber, I recognize that we have much to accomplish to achieve our vision of leading the way for a vibrant community where business thrives. This will require that we continually engage and enlist the best and brightest in the business community. But how do we accomplish this? During the last several years, I've learned many things by working with our outstanding and outgoing chair, David Anderson. But one thing that hit home for me the most is his belief that it's imperative that all business people in the county understand the value proposition of this chamber. David knew that if we could define that message properly and convey it to our existing and potential members, they would all want to be a part of this organization. As I thought about my approaching time as chairman of the board, I considered what my role might be in defining that value proposition for our members and future members. How can we tie it up in a nice bow and in the infamous words of Don Vito Corleone, make them an offer that they can't refuse? My company, KCI, has always been big on chambers of commerce. Our executive staff has held positions in local counties, state, and actually in the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Our CEO, Nate Bile, is the immediate past chair of the Maryland State Chamber of Commerce. So I asked myself what it is about chambers, and particularly the Howard County Chamber, that has added value to my company, KCI Technology. As business owners and managers, how do we decide where we spend our valuable time and treasure? What thing are we looking for that makes the investment worthwhile? Well, after conversations with several leaders at KCI, two themes really emerged from conversations with them. And those themes were know and grow. I then asked myself, has my participation in the Howard County Chamber helped define the value proposition of the chamber to me and my company? Did it allow me to know more and to grow more? And really the answers came pretty easily to me. Through membership in the chamber, I've gotten to know many leaders in the business community and been able to engage with them on business-related issues. I've gotten to know the county executive, members of the council, and the delegation to the state of Maryland. And I've been able to discuss critical business issues with them. I've interacted with local business owners from diverse backgrounds and worked with them to improve the business climate in this county. And I've been able to grow my personal network and have developed meaningful contacts and friendships that have helped me in my business. I've been able to grow my company's visibility within the county, and I've grown my personal knowledge on issues impacting my business through attending events hosted by the Howard County Chamber. And really more importantly than anything else, I've been able to provide an avenue of growth for the next generation of leaders at my firm through encouraging participation in the Young Professionals Network and other events at the Howard County Chamber. So my vision for the next 2 years is very simple. Deliver even greater value to the businesses that are members of the Howard County Chamber. Through executing our mission of connections, advocacy, and professional growth, we can create an environment of success. I believe success breeds success. New members flock to certain organizations because they're afraid not to. We can become that organization that businesses are afraid not to join for fear of missing out on something. But to do this, we must step up our game in every aspect of our interaction with business leaders and elected officials. We must deliver the best content in all of our program and hold events that you would not dare to miss. By striving to be better each and every time we execute our mission, we will become the organization that we are meant to be. And I really look forward to working with all of you to make that happen. So thank you for entrusting me with this position. And I'm excited about getting started and working with all of you to make this chamber the best that it can be. And with that, we're going to move on. I'm going to turn it back over to Leonardo for some additional comments and information.
Thank you, Chuck. And I certainly look forward to working with you over the next couple of years. And the one thing that I will certainly share with those that are participating. One of the things that I really enjoy about this job is the men and women that serve on our board of directors. They are truly some of the top individuals in their respective industries. And so it's always a great opportunity for me to learn and to continue to see firsthand various leadership styles, various ways of analyzing different things in terms of solutions and finding solutions as well as opportunities. And so, again, I think we have a tremendous board of directors. We have a great executive committee, and certainly look forward to a promising next couple of years and so forth. And so just a few closing remarks before we wrap things up. The first, I'd like to recognize the chamber staff who has willingly took on more responsibilities and brought creative ideas to help our members during these trying times. For many of you, you may perhaps be aware we're actually down one person, but the chamber team has actually divided various responsibilities amongst ourselves and have continued to press forward really with the whole spirit of service and really looking at how can we continue to add value. And one of the things we've always talked about is that the chamber is so much more than just events. And I think over the last few months, people have had an opportunity to see that the chamber is much more than events by way of the information we have provided, the resources we have brought to you, as well as just the overall communication efforts in terms of keeping you up to speed on the various changes to various local and state policies over these last few months. And so certainly value is something that continues to drive everything that we do. And we know that many of you have been hit hard and are continuing to navigate your way through this crisis. But please know that we're here to be your voice and to advocate for you. Do not ever hesitate to reach out to me or any one of our team members with your concerns. We're here to help, and truly we are in this all together. But before we conclude our 2020 annual meeting, there are a few events that I want to mention. So the first is June 25th will be the first of our 4 cyber risk management webinars. And so for many of you that have been around for a while, you know that we do an annual cyber conference that this year would have been, I think, our 11th or 12th cyber conference. And so certainly one of the ways in which we have had to pivot was to take that event and ultimately divide it in over a series, as opposed to trying to continue to postpone and hold different, to schedule one date with the uncertainty of knowing how we would be able to gather. And so with that, we're going to talk about the subject of critical infrastructure and risk management over the next 4 series, with the first again being June 25th. And so certainly I encourage you to visit the chamber website for details. We have a tremendous panel that's been assembled, and this event is, the series itself is being sponsored by Red Hat, amongst others. The second is July 21st. So I shared with you about the women's conference earlier. And so that event was originally scheduled for March. We then moved it to June, and now it's in July. And then we said, okay, you know what? We're going to still have this. And I think it's evident of the leadership that we have on that conference, and in the sense of one thing about highly accomplished women is that they're also very driven and they will defy the odds. And so this group has said, we're going to defy what COVID-19 is telling us, and we're going to have this conference anyway, and we're going to do it virtually. And so with that, we have been meeting regularly over the last few weeks and have a tremendous day planned, even in a virtual environment. And so certainly I encourage you to take a look at that and to send a member of your team. While the conference may be for women, it's certainly not geared towards just women. When you talk about leadership, those things apply across genders. And so again, that's July 21st. And then also I want to encourage you to pick up a copy of this month's Business Monthly, where the chamber is featured. There is actually, I think, 7 or 8 pages dedicated to the chamber, where you'll get a chance to hear about our programs, get a chance to see some of the volunteers that are involved. And so again, I encourage you to take a look at that. And lastly, I want to just continue to thank our annual partners, again, that you see reflected behind me in terms of the virtual background, again, for their continued support of the chamber as well as of this community. And with that, just want to also tell everyone, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we look forward to truly seeing you again, whether it's in a small group gathering of 10 or less, or whether it's in a virtual environment like this. But we look forward to seeing you, and go support Howard County businesses. And have a great rest of the day and stay safe.